Welcome back to our channel on this magnificent Monday where the drama in Los Angeles is thicker than the smog. And honestly, I am barely holding it together after witnessing the absolute emotional carnage unfolding across our screens today. We have to dive right into the deep end because the shockwaves from the House of Logan launch are tearing families apart limb by limb. And I just cannot stop thinking about the psychological damage being inflicted on everyone involved. Brooke Logan Forrester is standing on the precipice of a total emotional collapse, and you can literally see the years of carefully constructed Forrester loyalty crumbling around her as she stares at her own flesh and blood. She refuses, flat out refuses to forgive Hope. You would think a mother's love is unconditional, but we are witnessing the terrifying limits of Brooke's patience right now. Hope is standing there with tears streaming down her face, pouring her heart out and begging for a shred of understanding from the woman who gave her life. She is pleading, she is rationalizing. Hope insists that she was absolutely suffocating under Steffi's tyrannical reign at Forrester Creations, and that she simply followed her heart to a place where her creative vision is actually valued. It makes perfect sense when you look at how Steffi has been treating her like a second class citizen for months. But Brooke is completely blind to it. Brooke is entirely consumed by the perceived betrayal because she spent weeks fighting Ridge and Steffi to get Hope's line back in production, only to find out her daughter was secretly plotting with Katie the entire time. It is just so tragic to watch this once unbreakable mother-daughter bond shatter into a million irreparable pieces right before our very eyes. Brooke remains fiercely convinced that Hope's defection to Logan has completely obliterated their family dynamic and destroyed everything they have worked so hard to build at Forrester Creations. Does Brooke even realize that she is choosing a corporate legacy over her own child? She is looking at Hope not as a daughter who needed to spread her wings, but as a corporate traitor who handed the enemy a loaded weapon on live television. The tension in that room is so thick you could cut it with a diamond. Hope keeps trying to explain that she had to do this for her own sanity and for her career, but Brooke is just a brick wall of fury and disappointment. Emotions are boiling over in a way we have not seen in years, and this is undoubtedly a major turning point for them. Are we actually about to see Brooke disown Hope? Imagine the psychological fallout if Brooke officially cuts ties with her. Hope would be entirely reliant on Katie and Bill, which is exactly what Dollar Bill wants anyway. It is a masterclass in manipulation, and Brooke is playing right into it by pushing Hope away. Speaking of manipulation and absolute disasters, we desperately need to talk about the catastrophic mess happening over at the beach house right now. Will Spencer is desperately trying to do damage control with Electra Forrester, but he is failing miserably. He is standing there trying to explain why he kept Logan's massive fashion plans a complete secret from the woman he supposedly loves. Will keeps insisting that he was just protecting his family's business interests and following his father's strict orders. He is playing the loyal Spencer son card. It is such a weak defense. Did he really think Electra was just going to smile and nod while her entire world at Forrester Creations was being upended by his family's hostile takeover tactic? Electra is staring at him like she does not even know who he is anymore. She is having an incredibly hard time getting past this because to her, this is not just business. This is a profound, intimate betrayal. You really have to look at this from Electra's perspective to understand the sheer magnitude of her fury right now. She watched Hope walk down that runway wearing the Hope for the Future diamond and realized that her boyfriend knew about this massive corporate espionage the entire time they were sharing a bed and sharing a life. What makes it a million times worse is that Electra's own jewelry line has now been put on an indefinite hold because of the chaos the Spencers unleashed on Forrester. She is suffering direct collateral damage because of Will's silence. How can she possibly trust him again? Electra has been through so much trauma and betrayal in her past that this deception cuts straight to the bone. She is looking at Will and seeing the same manipulative Spencer traits that make Bill so dangerous. It is going to be nearly impossible for Will and Electra to continue living together in that beach house when the air is practically toxic with resentment. The relationship is hanging by a thread. A very thin fraying thread. You can see Elektra mentally packing her bags. And honestly, who could blame her if she walked out that door today? Will is pleading with her to understand the impossible position he was in, being torn between his father's demands and his girlfriend's trust. But love is supposed to conquer corporate loyalty, right? Will chose Logan over Elektra when he decided to keep his mouth shut. Now he is paying the ultimate price as he watches the woman he loves slip right through his fingers. And you just know RJ Forrester is waiting in the wings, ready to swoop in and offer Elektra a shoulder to cry on. RJ's been looking for any excuse to prove that Spencers are toxic, and Will just handed him the absolute perfect ammunition on a silver platter. If Elektra moves out of that beach house, it is game over for Will. He will have lost everything just to keep a secret for a fashion line that is not even his. While all of this heartbreaking romantic tragedy is playing out, we also have the incredibly tense dynamic between Remy Price and Deke Sharp taking center stage. Remy is crawling back. Of course he is. Remy reaches out to pay Deke a visit under the guise of congratulating him on the wildly successful Logan fashion launch. It is such a classic manipulative move. Remy shows up with a smile and praises Deke for his brilliant designs and his bright future in the fashion industry. He is laying it on so thick. Remy wants to bask in the glow of Deke's newfound success. But we all know Remy always has an ulterior motive. He is using this congratulatory visit to push for a reunion. Remy is looking at Deke with those desperate eyes, trying to convince him that he has changed and that he will always regret the terrible things he did in the past. He is playing the reformed bad boy card, hoping Deke will fall for the nostalgia and the undeniable chemistry they once shared. Deke is not having it, not even a little bit. Deke appreciates the support because he is a polite and decent guy, but he makes it crystal clear that he is absolutely not ready to get back together with Remy. It is such a triumphant moment for Deke. He is riding the massive high of his successful debut at Logan, and he is finally recognizing his own worth. Deke is determined to focus entirely on his growing fashion career, and he knows deep down that Remy is nothing but a beautiful, toxic distraction. Deke looks Remy right in the eye and decides that the risks of reopening those deep old wounds simply are not worth it. Why would he tether himself to someone with such a dark and messy past when his own future is literally blindingly bright right now? You have to applaud Deke for establishing those firm boundaries, because Remy is the kind of person who will slowly poison your life if you give him even an inch of space. Deke shutting him down is a massive step forward for his character development. But it also makes you wonder what Remy will do next now that he has been firmly rejected. Remy does not handle rejection well. Will he spiral out of control? Will he try to sabotage Deke's career out of spite? Rejected Remy is a very dangerous Remy, and Deke might have just painted a massive target on his own back by refusing to play his twisted little games. I am honestly terrified of what Remy might do to get Deke's attention now that the door has been slammed in his face. This entire day is just a masterclass in the destructive power of secrets and ambition. We have Brooke destroying her relationship with Hope because she cannot separate her role as a mother from her loyalty to a fashion house that does not even have her name on the building. We have Will destroying his future with Elektra because he chose to be a good little corporate soldier for Bill Spencer instead of an honest partner. And we have Remy trying to leech off Deke's success only to be left standing in the cold. Every single one of these characters is making choices that will haunt them for years to come. Let us circle back to Brooke and Hope for a second, because I just cannot get over the psychology of that confrontation. Hope is looking at Brooke and seeing a woman who has always put Ridge's feelings above her own daughter's needs. Hope feels entirely justified in her action. She secured a massive contract. She launched a gorgeous line. She stepped out of the Forrester shadow and proved she is a powerhouse in her own right. But Brooke cannot celebrate that. Brooke can only see the deception. Is it possible that Brooke is actually jealous of Hope? Brooke has spent her entire life fighting for a seat at the Forrester table, and here is Hope just walking away and building her own empire overnight. Maybe Brooke's refusal to forgive is rooted in her own deep-seated insecurities about her legacy. If Hope does not need Forrester Creations, then maybe Hope does not need Brooke. That is a terrifying thought for a mother who has always defined herself by her ability to control and protect her children. And then there is the absolute tragedy of Will and Elektra. They were supposed to be the bright, shining future of this younger generation. They survived so much manipulation from Ivy and so much external pressure, only to be taken down by a corporate secret. Will is sitting in that beach house listening to the ocean waves crashing outside and realizing that he threw away the best thing that ever happened to him for a publicity stunt. Elektra is entirely justified in her anger. Her jewelry line was her dream. She poured her heart and soul into those designs, and now they are gathering dust because the Spencers decided to play dirty. Will's betrayal is not just emotional, it is professional. He actively participated in a scheme that derailed her career. How do you come back from that? You don't. You pack your bags and you walk out the door. I am just spinning with all these hypothetical scenarios right now. What if Elektra runs straight to RJ and they team up to launch her jewelry line at Forrester just to spite Will? What if Hope officially drops the Forrester name and fully embraces her Logan and Sharp roots? What if Remy decides to partner up with someone incredibly dangerous just to ruin Deke's new collection? The dominoes are falling so fast, and the writers are giving us absolutely everything we could ever want in a soap opera. The lines are drawn, the families are fractured, the betrayals are cut incredibly deep, and there is absolutely no going back to the way things were before that Logan runway lit up the sky. We are in a brand new era of Los Angeles fashion warfare, and the casualties are piling up by the minute. Keep your eyes glued to the screen because this explosion is only just beginning.